First of all, thanks for having
Sorry
me.
for that.
My talk is called the broadcaster's niche, why we contribute, and I want to not focus that much on technical themes, but more about the motivation behind all of this. The station I work for, or I volunteer for, more accurately, is Radio Bern called RaBe. We're a community station in Bern, Switzerland. We've been active since 25 years this year, actually. So we have like a party this year. We're a member of Unicom in Switzerland, which is the national chapter of the AMARC Radio Foundation. Our station has a bit more than 1,000 paying members, and roughly 200 of those are active volunteers, and a bit more than 10 of the volunteers are doing active IT work. Most of our IT work can be found at Radio RaBe on github.com. Myself, I'm Lucas. I've been doing IT work for the community radio space in Bern since a bit more than 10 years. You can find me on GitHub and Twitter as @Termer. Our first infrastructure thingy that we had at RaBe, I'm gonna go back like these 24 years, was a 10-deck CD cassette deck player thingy. And we used a C64 to remote control it. Next up, the last system that we actually got rid of was a really convoluted thing based on a Debian as a operating system with some X11 based, yeah, really nice cable management. That's why we got all rid of this when we were doing our like real digitalization effort that started like 6 years ago, and we finalized it in 2000 at the end of 2019, where we built our new digital studio, and we also converted our full broadcast chain from being a bit digital, like with the nice cable management, to being digital over the air using DAB plus, as well as like a modern professional grade broadcast processing stuff. A lot of our DAB Plus effort has even been open source thanks to the Open Digital Radio project, which has this fun logo with hooks and an antenna on top of it. I'd also like to share a bit of our open source work, mainly LibreTime. LibreTime is the upgrade target of airtime, so to speak. It's a fork of the airtime software, and it's still being maintained, still works on most modern Linux platforms. It's a PHP-based web user interface with a Python backend that kind of wraps Liquidsoap and runs Liquidsoap. I'm being very conservative when I say it has 100+ community members. It's probably more like 300-400 people that are involved at some point or have been involved with LibreTime. There's countless radio stations, both terrestrial radio stations like RaBe that do DAB and FM broadcasting, but also lots of web radio stations. At RaBe, we use LibreTime mostly for airing pre-produced segments. This is like kind of what the user interface would look like. What we also do at RaBe is we provide RPM packages of Liquidsoap for like enterprise Linux distributions. Mainly that's been the CentOS packages that are linked on the liquidsoap.info page, but I recently also started integrating Fedora packages in that effort. These are also used at RaBe for our personal runtime. So we built those packages for our personal needs, and we've been making them available from the get-go, since it just makes more sense to have more users use the same build. For us, it makes it really handy in debugging, because we're sure that we have like one packaging system for the package. We're sure that you have the same binary on all the machines in our setup. We have a couple of other open source things, especially. One thing is our own Liquidsoap based playout solution that we use to cover like the heavy rotation parts of our station. So we use like LibreTime for everything that's like hour-long shows that are pre-produced or reruns of shows that get done through the day. But we also have like this automation that hinges on the playlist features, uses the telnet service to just run our 24/7 program when nothing from our studios or nothing pre-produced is being scheduled. We have our own little archival software which doesn't use LibreTime under the hood, but which is interesting because we're rolling it out to other stations soonish. We manage a bunch of RPMs that are used throughout the audio community, generally speaking, in the CentOS Enterprise Linux community. Some of those are even being upstreamed from time to time. We have lots of stuff in our GitHub community from like a code point of view, but I've also got some patterns to share that helped us on our journey to being like a digital first, end-to-end digital station. One of those was that we really learned to talk to our vendors, from the networking stack even up to like audio specific codec components. If we ran into bugs, it really always helped if we talked to our vendors and talk them into being like audio native, digital native, and supporting our use case. Our audio over IP network wouldn't be at the stage it is right now if hadn't we talked to the actual manufacturers of our equipment. One thing that also helped this whole transition to being a digital first kind of business, coming from like this legacy analog community radio station thinking, was really talking to our community and ensuring that they really knew why we're doing open source first and why we're contributing back to a global community, because it's just a sensible thing to do, and it's also the sustainable thing. And what I've been doing recently, what this talk is part of, is that we're doing outreach. We're trying to talk others into using the same architecture patterns as we do. I'm really glad for projects like ShowerGel or CentovaCast that aren't especially the same thing as LibreTime, for instance, but they're using the same base technology, Liquidsoap in this case, which we're all here to praise on this day. And this helps us be really sure that we build something that's sustainable for our radio. And that kind of brings me to the end. This is really saying thanks to, I guess, Sam, to David, to Romain, for being a very welcoming, awesome community from the software developer side of things. And I'm pretty sure the support we've experienced so far in this community will be a crucial part of being able to as Radio RaBe in Bern, but I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of other radios globally to help us be on air going forward.
So thank you very much. It's always great to discover about new radios we didn't know of, which are using Liquidsoap and which take care of the of the community aspects of things. So is there any questions about that, or do people want to to ask about the radio in the old days, maybe?
I'd just like to add that I'm so humbled that I've been able to like share the part of the LibreTime or RaBe story here.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, but Buster, maybe?
Hi. So, my video's not working, but not really a question. Just wanted to say to my LibreTime friends, from one open source project to another, I know that this can often be thankless work, and it is a labor of love. And your contributions to the open source community are excellent, and we at AzureCast are happy to happy to send a good word. A lot of the time, a lot of our users are big supporters of open source, and we're happy to share the ecosystem with you guys and to help bring radio to the masses. So thank you for all your work.
I can only confirm that we send folks your way all the time as well. It's really we complete the ecosystem each other. We don't. It's not like we're against each other or something.
Absolutely.
Some people it makes more sense to use your setup. For some people, especially those coming from like Airtime, which closed down their open source efforts, we might be the perfect migration target.
Yeah.
Something we focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So is there another question or comment? So maybe when small question. So what kind of music are you airing at RaBe Radio? Oh.
We're all over the place, actually.
Okay.
We also have like a pretty great news show where we actually have journalists that we hire to do that, and you could consider us on like the alt-left spectrum of media.
Okay. Okay, sounds interesting.
But when it comes to music, we're all over the place.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.